Today, I will be chatting with our industry leaders as we explore how companies can continue to safeguard our workers' hearing, especially in noisy work environments. And I'm very delighted to be joined by two distinguished gentlemen here. Thank you for being on our podcast with us. I have Mr. Lim Swee Soon, Honorary Secretary, Singapore Institution of Safety Officers and member of the WSH Council Manufacturing Committee. And next to him is Dr. Melvin Seng, who is the Occupational Medicine Specialist Program Director for the Graduate Diploma for Occupational Medicine from the National University of Singapore. Welcome.
Thank you.
It's going to be very, very fun today. It's a fun conversation, but a very serious topic, I would say. So just to set some context, maybe I can share a couple of numbers and statistics with our viewers watching. Well, in the first half of 2025, Singapore recorded 465 cases of occupational diseases. And this is a comparable figure to the year before. So we're going to get down to why it's not getting better and what we can do about it. But what's striking about that? This figure, 60% of these cases were due to noise-induced hearing loss. So that is the leading occupational disease. And this is followed by work-related musculoskeletal disorders, that's at 26%, and occupational skin diseases at 10%. So noise is something that actually a lot of us encounter daily. But certain sectors, I would say, perhaps you can jump in on this, manufacturing, chemical, and marine. These are the larger sectors that contribute to these, right? So this is prolonged exposure that we're talking about to excessive noise that could induce noise-induced hearing loss, or NIHL, which my understanding is permanent. So this is something that we really have to deep dive into it, because there's a new program as well. That's the Comprehensive Hearing Conservation Program, or HCP. Is that new, or has that been around for a while?
That's been done for a while.
Okay. I just read about it, but that's been around for a while. But let's talk about why it is so critical to address noise in the workplace. Maybe Swee Soon, you could
Charmaine.
Guide us in.
Noise at our workplaces is a common occurrence. While in workplaces like manufacturing factories, construction site, marine shipyard, we have a lot of noise sources where we work with machine, and most of the machine will have moving parts, or they have parts that impact each other. So with these processes, this activity, these tasks, unfortunately generate noise that is not needed. This noise, when it is too strong, the workers that work around this machine and work processes, if they exposed to this on a prolonged period of time, then they will suffer what we call as noise-induced hearing loss. So if this noise-induced hearing loss setting are not being controlled and workers continue to suffer this, then their hearing loss, like what I said earlier, is irreversible. So that's why it's important for us that despite all the work technology processes that we have improved over the years, but the noise-induced hearing loss has not gone down based on the numbers you shared with us earlier. So hence, it's important for us to relook at this. What can we do?
Yeah. Dr. Melvin, why do you feel this is critical, that companies really get down to making sure we implement these measures?
Yeah, so noise-induced hearing loss is, like you said, is the top occupational disease that we detect and we see in workers working in Singapore. And in fact, we see about 500 cases reported every year. And that's actually a very significant number. Imagine, such a high number of people with their hearing affected, right? And you know what? In fact, in 2025, December last year, the Workplace Safety and Health Act, as well as the Work Injury Compensation Act, has amended the term noise-induced deafness to noise-induced hearing loss. I believe this has helped to create more awareness among the workers to help detection as well. And workers who are exposed to noise, they would actually need to undergo regular hearing tests called audiometry to help with the detection of this noise-induced hearing loss.
How frequent are these tests?
Well, once they have been identified as having exposure to excessive noise, they will need to undergo every year, so once a year.
Okay, I see. So, I mean, the numbers are quite alarming. So, hopefully, we can improve on that with certain measures, right? So, I guess let's get down to the ground level. How can organizations actually make sure they can identify the hazards and then try to implement certain things to reduce these hazards?
Okay. First, of course, organization companies must know where they are. So, company management, they should have a walk in the shop or in the site themselves personally, especially during the peak time when activities are in the full swing. So, by doing so, the company management can personally identify what are the noisy processes that they can see, they can observe, they can hear, and then to ask some question. Hey, why are we having this noise? What can we do about it? So, of course, knowing it, whether we also need to know how strong, how high are the noise. So they can, of course, engage some expert noise control officer to do some systematic measurement. So those measurements could be fixed station measurement. I have a noise dosimeter that put on a certain location to measure over a period of time. Or they could have a personal individual noise dosimeter that clip on the collar of the workers who are exposed to high noise. Then that will give us an idea of how much these workers at the noisy work processes are being exposed to the noise.
Yeah, and it's also, as we've said, right, close to the ear.
Yeah. Clip to the collar here, which is closer to the ear. So the noise dosimeter will pick up.
As accurate, I guess, as possible.
Very accurate, rather than clip on the belt or something else.
Right.
And this, once you clip on, is for the whole work shift. So they collect the whole shift, 8-hour, 12-hour shift, whatever it may be. Yeah. And after having identified what are the work processes that is noisy, and knowing that it might be cause harmful hearing loss to the workers, then the management should engage people, expert within the organization or outside, to look at what can they do to the process or the machine. For example, can they put barriers? Noise barrier is common things like we see quite common in MRT track. There's a noise barrier near where the tracks are closer to the housing blocks.
Right. Yeah.
Or even construction site. Nowadays, you can see a lot of this noise barrier when we pass by a construction site boundary. So similar kind of noise barrier can be placed around this noise machine. Either it's a fixed one or movable ones. Yeah. So if that can reduce the noise to a safe level, that's good. If not, then the further action they can do is to look at what are the part that is noisy in the machine or in the work processes. Can we change the material? Because noise are created through impacting or vibration. So if they can say, we change the part, so when they hit together, it won't create noise. So another put a rubber or plating in between. Or change the ball bearing. It could be a ball bearing wear and tear. Then we need a new set of ball bearing. Or change the lubricant, oil, grease. That help to reduce the vibration that generate noise. With that done, if they are still noise high level, then they would say, okay, this area will declare as hearing protector zone. So workers that work in around this zone will have to wear hearing protector. Commonly are the earplug, ear muff. So did that, provide to them, and the worker also had to be trained how to use it, wear it correctly. Because if you're not wearing it correctly, then they
defeats the purpose also.
Defeat the purpose, that's right.
Right.
So the worker also need to be trained on how to examine the hearing protector, make sure they are still in good condition to offer the correct amount of protection that needed.
Wow.
And if it's worn out, then it's going to be changed and replaced.
Right. And all of this also starts with educating the people on the ground as well, right? We can provide all the tools, the muffs, the plugs, but they must be able to implement it effectively.
Yes, to use it, correct.
To protect their hearing.
Yes, correct.
Right? So it is really in everybody's interest to implement this. I mean, you're nodding away, right, Dr. Melvin? So clearly you think this is critical.
Definitely. I think what SISO mentioned is very scientific, very accurate, and the right thing to do. I think there are also other softer approaches that we could identify the noise risk and exposure risk. For example, company management, when they are walking on the ground, visiting their employees, looking at operations, processes, it's important for them, to take a look, see what's happening. And also if they identify noise, the noisy areas, it's very easy, right? I mean,
I guess so.
We walk around, we hear noisy areas, then they can do more scientific approaches to the noise measurements and to identify the risk accurately, whether it's reached the threshold level already or not. Other ways, I think it's important for, again, the management to hear feedback for employees, and not just hearing the feedback, but also to ask for feedback from employees. What are their issues? What are they facing on the ground? And if we work there, 8 hours a day or during our shifts, when we are exposed to noise, it's uncomfortable for the worker, right?
Of course.
We will identify it. Sometimes we are afraid to speak up. But if the management is open, they get feedback, that will be great opportunities for the workers to voice their concerns. And then more measurements, more things can be done to help protect them as well.
Yeah, these are actually very practical. This was going to be the next question I had, the practical and innovative measures. Have you got other measures that we haven't laid out yet? I think you've actually got a lot on that list that you said earlier.
Yes, those are signs, okay? So
there are more.
Those are hard.
Okay.
But we are protecting people. So after all, the people must accept that this is good for them. So, but not everyone have the same opinion of what's good, what's bad, right?
Okay.
So to encourage workers to speak out, like Dr. Melvin say, we must tell them that, hey, whatever happened in these workplaces, you are part of it. You are the key stakeholders. You work here, contribute to the company operation. Good. But we also do not want you to suffer as a result of your work. So to do that, we need to certainly engage the worker. So when we educate them, we will explain to them. We need to explain the reason, the logic behind why they need to operate machine in a certain way. That the machine will not deteriorate or wear and tear too fast. And if the machine really making noise is unusual and normal, then they should report it. So we give them hearing protectors so that they should also feel comfortable and wanting to use the hearing protector. Some of them may not think that hearing protector is necessary because it's additional things to do. But we need to let them understand hearing loss is progressive. They may not notice it immediately. Like getting a cut, you see the blood. But hearing loss, you don't see any sign.
Also, I mean, when you work in a slightly noisier environment or very noisy environment, actually sometimes we can get used to it.
Yes, you're right. Yes.
So we don't think much of it if I could put it like that, right?
Or they may have developed noise-induced hearing loss already, so they don't hear the noise.
Right. Interesting.
Yeah. So to educate the worker is important. So to say this is your well-being, you're working here, contributing your knowledge and skill, that's good. But you shouldn't compromise your health.
Yes. So what are some key steps and efforts for noise management that we can take immediately?
Okay. Some of those I already mentioned.
Some may take time, right?
Yes.
We've got to measure over time. But what are some things that can be implemented straight away?
Engage a worker, that's more important because workers are the one that are operating the machine, work on the work processes. They know whether there is high noise or low noise in their exposure in their daily activity. And if they say, hey, this is a bit too noisy, after working a whole day, I go back, I don't feel good, then the company will take on that feedback and engage experts to do some investigation. So with that, then perhaps to find noise control expert, there are such a few, then in that field, then they can come into solution to say, okay, typically for such a work process, such a machine, these are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 you can do.
So those are quite immediate steps, right?
Yes.
Actually, something that SISO, you mentioned earlier, I wanted to check with you, right, Dr. Melvin. What are some of the signs, the early signs that you get when people do come to you and to your clinic, right? Like, what are the early signs of this of hearing loss, for example, that people can identify actually? Because you say, right, when when people don't feel good at the end of the day, what else do you feel?
So, a lot of workers that are identified with noise-induced hearing loss, they don't actually develop any symptoms, or they don't even recognize that they have hearing loss themselves. So that's the importance of going for the annual audiometry test, where it picks up scientifically and accurately by the trained professionals that they have an hearing loss. So that's what happens. But some of the signs where, when you have developed very serious or advanced hearing loss, will be very common things that happen throughout their daily lives. For example, your family calling out to you, your workers calling out to you, they don't respond. You may think, they are being aloof, they are not, they are being not very responsive, but actually it's because they don't hear you calling them, right? So that's one typical sign.
Yes.
Some of them develop what we call tinnitus, so a ringing sound in the noise in the ear. So they don't that occurs in some of the hearing loss issues as cases as well.
But when you hear the ringing, right, is that quite severe already?
It doesn't mean that you have hearing loss. There's many causes for the ringing sound in the ear. It could be due to infections. It could be due to structural issues with the ear. It could be due to inflammation. But it could be a sign of hearing loss as well.
So there are many things to really look out for. What would you say is the one key takeaway for our viewers? What's the one key takeaway you'd like them to know when it comes to noise management?
We should contribute to organization, yes, but each individual, they should also take care of their health. Now, years ago, I have a chance to talk to one technical workers who pride himself using his hearing to assess a machine's source of noise, why a machine is making a normal noise. And he didn't believe in using the hearing protector. He said, by using my listening, then I can pinpoint where is the source of the abnormal noise, then I can fix the machine. So that skill is earned through years of practice. So he was very proud of that, but I totally disagree with this philosophy. Because by doing so, he is causing hearing loss that he don't even realize is important in his later years.
Right.
So my takeaway is hearing loss is progressive. You don't know when it's happening or even already started. But we should not take it as an acceptable way of sacrificing ourselves when performing our work.
And what's the one key takeaway for you, Dr. Melvin?
Well, I think a lot of us take hearing for granted. We don't actually cherish it as much. And like SISO mentioned, it is gradual, but the damage is permanent.
And I can imagine it affects your daily life, right?
Yeah.
The way you communicate with your colleagues, your family, your friends too, right?
So we definitely need to cherish it and protect our hearing. And actually, it does not stop at the workplace. When we are at home, when workers go back to their home or when they commute, right?
Yes.
It's also important to continue protecting their ears. For example, some people like to listen to loud music, use the headphones and on
right
loud
after
music.
Work, we're plugged in.
So that's something that we are not really able to control. So we need to educate our viewers, everyone, to protect their hearing. But companies play a bigger role in the workplace to help our employees, to help our workers protect their hearing. And I think what I wanted to share is also what we call the hierarchy of control.
Okay.
So a lot of people focus on personal protective equipment, wearing earplugs, wearing headphones. But actually, there are much more efficient ways that we could do to protect hearing in the workplace. One of the main things, the priority is actually on elimination and substitution. We want to get rid of the noise. If they are noisy machineries, can we replace them? Can we make sure that the machines do not generate enough noise? And if they do, the next step, and if there's really no place, it's difficult, then we can do engineering controls. That's where I think SISO's expertise will come into place, where for example, you can cage up the machine, reduce noise exposure, and then later on will be administrative control, where we reduce the number of workers going for being exposed at the workplace, or even like I mentioned about the annual audiometry, that's part of the administrative control to detect hearing loss as well. And then the last is actually personal protective equipment. So a lot of us think that's the most important, but actually that's the final step in reducing noise-induced hearing loss.
Yes.
Wow. So there really, I mean, from the sounds of it, there are on many levels, we can implement ways to intervene when it comes to managing noise at our workplaces.
Yes.
So it sounds like, I guess, if everybody works on every level and everybody works together, I think hopefully, fingers crossed, this number goes down.
Certainly.
Year on year, right?
Yes.
And based on everything that I'm hearing today, a lot can be done straight away.
Yes.
We don't have to wait.
A lot of technologies are already available.
Yeah.
In Singapore, we are lucky that we have WHS Council who make a lot of resources available on the website. So people who have no clue, no idea, what they can go is just go to the WHS Council website, resources to search. Noise-induced hearing protection, also the keyword, you will see a lot of multilingual documents, reference guideline available.
Oh, wow. I mean, this is also on the workers' owners, right, to go read up a little bit about how to protect themselves.
Yes.
But this is really for workplace longevity, so that once you protect your hearing, you can work much longer, contribute to the workplace, feel fulfilled as well. Oh, that's truly amazing. Well, thank you, gentlemen, for this wonderful chat. I think it's been very, very insightful, and I think I guess from the sounds of it, a lot more work can be done. With that, I thank you both for sharing your insights, and hopefully, if you're watching this, you've gained some valuable lessons too, and some practical tips that you can implement straight away at your workplace. So we thank you for your time, and with that, we'll see you at the next episode of Let's Talk. But in the meantime, let's create safer, healthier, and more hearing-friendly workplaces. We'll see you in the next episode of Let's Talk. See you next time.